In this video, I'm going to be talking about Ori and the Blind Forest. Now, first things first, let's just get this out of the way. You have to let me tell you how good this game looks. Each environment is like a set in a play, in that there's a fore and a background. The attention to detail is even more impressive when you realise each part of the scenery is unique, in that a tree or a mushroom you see in one area will not be the same as one in another. It's not just the visuals that need a mention, the soundtrack really is something else. Now, I'm not an expert in music by any stretch of the imagination, but even I felt captivated when listening to the score. From the main menu to the end credits, the audio tells more of a story than the intro did itself. It really amplifies what's going on in the world around you. So if you're like me and you haven't really noticed or appreciated music in games, hopefully this one will change your mind. That's enough on how impressive the visuals and the audio are. We're going to move on to the gameplay next, and you know what? It just wasn't as refined. The gameplay is fluid. Now, don't get me wrong about it, I had a bucket underneath my screen, but there's just wee niggles in it that really, it just let it down for me, but only just a bit. Ori and the Blind Forest falls under the Metroidvania style. This is a genre spawning from Metroid and the Castlevania series. This type of game puts emphasis on exploration, where the player can explore certain areas freely as soon as they unlock a certain ability or item. Barriers preventing progression are almost always physical, being that destructible, such as gaining an ability to break through a wall, or indestructible by unlocking a certain door with a key item, or even gaining more height through a double jump to reach that previously distant ledge. Ori ticks all the boxes for the requirements of what exemplifies this genre, and confidently at that, but nothing more. It just doesn't bring anything else to the table. With each ability gained, the game adds more opportunities for the player to traverse the environment, and these make you feel like a total boss. The controls are spot on, making the player feel like it's their fault if they die, rather than it just being cheap, for the most part. Now, I'm all for nature conservation, but there are some points where I just wanted to burn this whole forest to the ground. The latter part does get tricky to a point of frustration. Now, this might just be me being too eager to see what the next set piece is going to look and play like, but whenever you do beat it, you do get a sense of accomplishment rather than relief to add to the eagerness of what's to come. When you have a game that focuses on exploration, you have to have top-notch level design, simply because the players can be going back and forth across the same areas multiple times, and you just don't want them getting bored. Not everybody likes to 100% games. I know I definitely fall into that category, but with this, I couldn't help but explore. If I decide to dedicate my time to fully completing a game, I'll do it on my second playthrough. I want the first one to be going A to B in the time that I feel comfortable with. I don't want to have to worry about exploring just because I'm going to miss out on something on my first go. With this, I just couldn't help but explore. There are so many charming places that you just want to wander about and get lost in. And when you are wandering, you'll realise it's all interlinked, and you'll come up in some place that you've previously been in, and that click, it's magical. However, and this is a big however, if you're on the other side, where you like to 100% everything in the shortest time possible, well, we've got bad news for you. For some reason, whenever you complete the game, in terms of the story, and you try to access your save file again, you can't. Once you finish the story, that's you done with that save file, and you have to start all over again. So if you want to 100% this as you go, you really have to be wary, especially in some parts, and you might not realise this until it's too late, but there's certain parts of the game where the environment gets destroyed, meaning you can't go back to that area. So if you miss anything, that's a tough time for you then. The save system in this game, it's quite different in comparison to other games, in that you set the checkpoint yourself and it requires energy. So energy we can use in 3 different ways. 1, your main wit is to attack enemies. 2 is to unlock certain doors, and 3 is the save in itself. In some parts the energy really has to be rationed, so that means you have to decide if you're going to risk it and use your energy to attack and progress, or just take a step back, pause it here, but then again be weaker for the next enemies. In this system of risk versus reward, it's something different, and I like it definitely, until you realise you haven't saved in ages and you have to go back pretty far. But with this level design, it's not that much of a disaster. The story of the game, it's pretty simple, and there's not much to talk about. The play as Ori, a tree spirit. You're trying to restore life to the forest, one element at a time, and you do get pestered by this, what looks like an evil owl. Like I said, it is pretty straightforward. I see a lot of people raving about the story, but for me, I just don't see what the fuss is. But let's face it, people aren't going to be playing this just for the story. They're going to be playing it because the visuals look fantastic, and they want to get that old school Metroidvania fix. And you will get that, definitely, but don't be going into this expecting this full-blown story that's going to be groundbreaking, because it's not. I picked this up on a whim, and I'm pretty glad I did. It sits in at about 7 or 8 hours of gameplay, so if you're looking for something that's short but very sweet, Moon Studio's first outing of Ori and the Blind Forest is a great choice. If you like this video, give it a wee thumbs up. If you want to talk about it, comment below. And if you want to subscribe, that'll be great. Thanks for watching.